Hi, everybody. It's Agnes, and I'm excited today because I've got Hamza back. Hello, Hamza.
Hi, and yes, I'm really excited to be here again. Super happy.
Yeah, me too. So many people loved your interview, and you are in Pakistan. I'm in London today, London, England. We're connecting from different places, but we said we would definitely have a part two and talk about more things. So I know you have got a wonderful list of bits and pieces that you have collected from people contacting you. So we might start with that today.
Yeah. So, thing is that whatever I've gone through, it's been a huge learning curve for me. And what I want to emphasize is that I have not stopped the work. I still do the work. Every day I wake up, I do self-love meditation. I still do affirmations, not trying to get somebody back, but just for myself. And I think it's very important once that's where most of us go wrong. When we get what we want, we stop doing the work that we really need to sustain that kind of state that we are in.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we keep doing self-love on a daily basis, irrespective of your specific person, whether they're bad or not.
Yeah, totally agree with you because the self-love benefits relationships, but it's for you first, for sure.
Yeah. And only when you're happy and fulfilled within, only then you'll be able to attract healthy relationships. So it's all about you. You need to work on yourself.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you had quite a lot of people contact you and connect with you and ask you for help. And I know you had some common threads and things you wanted to discuss when we had our second interview. So what have you been asked, and what have people been needing, do you think, to hear to give them relief?
Yeah, first of all, I feel very truly honored and privileged to be in that position, today, to be able to help. That's what, when I look back, that's what I think. I would never have been in this place if I had not gone through that misery. And maybe that's the upside of it, or it's a blessing in disguise, because I am a totally new person and I'm in a position to help people. And it's a great feeling that people grow and they get inspiration from my story and they reach out. And I really hope things work out for those who reach out to me, and I want to help as many people as possible. So it's a great feeling, and I'm very grateful for that, for so much love that I get from people. It's incredible.
Yes, it is. And I think too, Hamza, when people contact you about this sort of stuff, you really see that it doesn't matter what country, what culture, what race, what sexual preference, what age, that across the board, people want relief in relationships and they want to feel better within themselves and they want to stop the emotional and mental suffering. So it brings us all together. It brings us all together.
Irrespective of your gender, ethnicity, at the end of the day, human emotions are universal.
Yeah.
And I feel that whether you come from Pakistan or whether you come from London, the kind of insecurity, the kind of problems that people face in a relationship, they're so similar, which is actually fascinating, because on one level, we're so different in terms of values. But when it comes to love and when it comes to relationships, I think we all go through the same kind of experience, which brings together.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
I'll start with, I recently did a short vacation, mini vacation.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a self-love journey. I do travel a lot, but never have I traveled in the past in this self-love state. So when I was on vacation, I was constantly doing self-love. Every morning I would wake up. I would start my day with affirmations. And then something magical happened over my trip. So I do this affirmation that I am love, I create love in abundance, and love comes to me effortlessly. So these are the three affirmations that I have been doing recently. So when I went on this vacation, there's this person who I meet through an app, very random.
Yeah.
And when I meet that person could not speak a word of English. So there was absolutely no way we could communicate. But there was an instant connection, a magical connection. And I had like a holiday fling for 4 days. and that fling, honestly, it was the most magical fling ever. It was so interesting because that person could not talk English at all. And
Wow.
throughout, we talked on Google Translate, but
Yep.
the connection was so strong. And that person made me feel so much wanted and loved. Like I never got that feeling in my 3-year relationship. Now, why
Wow.
I'm talking about this is because I know I'm not going to see that person ever again. Probably. It's very unlikely that I'm going to, see that person again.
Yep.
But when I was coming back on my flight back, I was thinking why I came across this person and why it happened. And then it suddenly hit me that person represented hope, that I just needed the reminder that I'm still alive and the world still contains magic and wonder.
Yeah.
So I think if you do self-love and if you continue to do self-love, you will attract miracles and things will happen when you least expect them, and they will be so effortless that you will be literally surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
I wanted to share
lovely.
that.
That's lovely. And just spending some time, because it just goes to show so much of communication is not verbal.
Yeah. I mean, you just feel it. There was a natural element to it, so effortless. And it was very, very interesting. I mean, I still think about it every day.
Lovely. It's so interesting when you do this self-love work, what you get drawn to, who you get drawn to, where you go, where you choose to go, and all of these things. And if you can explore being more free and having more fun and more adventure, because we lose that sense of adventure, we lose that sense of fun, we lose that sense of free.
Lose that sense of free.
I mean, I've traveled so much in the past 3-5 years, but I think this was the best trip of my life.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So now moving on to the next point. So I get a lot of messages, and usually people from my country or from neighboring countries with the same. Now, there seems to be a clash with the religion, and this is something very tricky in law of attraction. So I'm a Muslim, right? And fellow Muslims, they feel that law of attraction somehow clashes with teachings of Islam, because law of attraction says that you are the creator, right, of your reality. But if you look at a religion from a religious perspective, that says that God is the creator of ultimate creator of your reality. So that's the tension that I'm trying to kind of make sense of. And I get that a lot from people here, and they're unable to reconcile religion with teachings of LOA. So I mean, I'm not an expert on religion, and I was not really able to comment what Islam or Christianity says about law of attraction. But my advice to them was, I think there's nothing non-religious or unreligious with keeping your thoughts positive, You're creating your reality through your thoughts. So if you just learn to select your thoughts and control your thoughts and just do self-love, then I don't think you're really challenging the teachings of religion. That's something I wanted to do. I'm not sure if you get that question, but I'm getting that a lot.
No, I can't say I have got that. I do think, I always think, okay, because it's that thing of God being out there and God being in here, and how does that all work? And where does, because we talk about, like you said, we are the creators. So if we are the creators, we are still with a limited view, because we're not all seeing and all knowing yet. We're on our journey to that, but we're still a work in progress. So I think, yes, we are the creators. We have God within, Allah within, source within, universe within, whatever word you want to use. And the bigger all-knowing presence, power, still is in charge of timing and packaging for us all. We don't know when we're going to get things, and we don't know how it's going to get here, what it's going to look like exactly. So, you know, we have to learn to trust life and to trust ourselves as best we can, and trust that that power is assembling things for us in the best possible way for the good of all concerned, if we have that belief. But yeah, it's a very interesting question, and I can understand that people ask it. I can understand people ask that, especially people that come from religious backgrounds.
Yeah, and also I feel the reason why these people are failing to manifest is because of this turmoil and confusion. Because I feel you need to have a very clear vision and a very clear mind when you manifest. So if you're that sort of flux, you don't have clarity, then you're not going to have success at manifesting. So maybe I think these people, they first need to get this figured out and take a side. And once they take a side, then they should pursue this. Otherwise, it's a waste of time if you were having this constant conflict, because then you were kind of challenging within. There's a counter force within, which is undermining.
I mean, I think too, Hamza, I mean, people that are totally atheist and don't even believe in God, Allah, source, universe, they can still manifest. Why? Because they still have thoughts, they still have beliefs, and they still have feelings and emotions that get projected out. So you can be a total non-believer in any power and still create through clarity, through focus, through repetition, through affirmations. Because you don't need to believe in God to affirm. You don't need to believe in Allah to be able to visualize or any of these things. So there is a place for the believers, and there's a place for the non-believers too. It's not, oh, the people that believe are going to create more than those that don't believe. So it's like they're two halves of an art. You can definitely manifest and not believe in a power.
It's very interesting. I mean,
it is. It's fascinating.
I even got this comment from somebody that this is like witchcraft, because you're doing the same thing by affirming. You're trying to control people's minds and thoughts. And if you're turning a situation around, that means you're doing something which is not legit. So that was very interesting, because I never saw it like that.
It's interesting you're bringing this up, because I just recorded a YouTube today. Somebody kept asking about Neville Goddard's golden rule, and it's about whether you are especially for people that are imagining something for themselves that someone else technically has, like someone else has got that person and you want them, or someone else has got that job and you would like it. So I finally addressed that question, because it kept coming up again and again and again about what is Neville's golden rule. So I'll put that YouTube up separately. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. Are you, especially if you're actually imagining things, like, do you imagine things, one, to take something away from somebody? And secondly, do you imagine something that, someone does actually want for themselves? So like, if I know you want to go to Singapore, I can imagine that for you, because I know it's in line with what you want. But if I want to imagine for you, you being with me, but I know you're gay and you want to be with a man, should I still be imagining being with you? So that whole topic of, should I imagine things when I know they go against what other people want? And that is a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
It's a good conversation. Anyway, we're not going to go there with that, because that's a whole other YouTube, but I will talk about that in a separate thing. But yes, I'm glad you're addressing this thing, because it is sometimes law of attraction versus religion, or law of attraction versus someone's spiritual beliefs, or law of attraction versus someone being a total atheist and not believing at all. So yeah, very interesting. And what you believe and what you learned in childhood and what you still believe as an adult is definitely going to affect the position you stand in relation to that question. Yeah.
And I think the more clarity you have when you're doing LOA or when you're doing these meditations, you need focus, you need faith.
Yeah.
And if you're shaky, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
understanding.
The better the better, Hamza, before you go on to the next thing, the better the clarity, the better the fertilizer.
Yes, definitely.
I think. Okay, next thing.
So next is this trade-off between persistence versus letting go. Now, this is something I get a lot. That now I got this really interesting comment that when you try living in the end, and when you, especially with your specific person, and when you visualize it, and when you're doing affirmations, and when you're visualizing that that specific person is around you and is loving you, that creates attachment. I mean, that's what I heard. And if that creates attachment, then your manifestation will not come, because you need to have a certain level of detachment for your manifestation to come. So there's a trade-off.
Yeah.
If you're doing too much living in the end, that will lead to attachment. And I mean, that's what I would want your take on this too. How do you square this circle of persistence versus letting go?
Good question.
And is attachment a problem, or do you really need to be detached for your manifestation to come?
Wow, nice question. Okay, I think persistence is important, but I think doing things to the point of obsession and addiction, it's a fine line between persistence and obsession. Now, persistence, I think you could do something 5, 6, 7 days a week. Say you do an imaginal scene to be in a certain job, or to have meaningful work, or to be with a specific person. Or if you don't have a specific person, you're single, you'd like to be with someone new, that you persist in the assumption of what you desire through thinking about how great it would be, how much fun it would be, how just the feeling of, oh, I'd love that. That would feel so good. But it doesn't mean that you, for the entire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're like with a dog with a bone and you never let it go. You need to give it some breathing room and go and work at your job and focus at your job. You need to be with your friends and be with your friends and have a conversation and be present. So persistence is, you are persistent when the time is for meditation, the time is for visualizing, the time is for imagining, but then you remove your attention and you put it onto other things. That's what letting go is. You put your entire attention, your full attention elsewhere for the rest of the day. So you do your pockets of intense fertilizing of the desire, and then you pull your attention away and you let go. I think there needs to be a big, it's like a big exhale for the rest of the day. And yes, you need to hold the state if you can for extended periods of time, but holding the state is, I trust myself, I trust life, I know this will come, I know this process works, I know that pockets and strong pinpointed focus on a desire is necessary, but then I pull away and I let it go, because I know that creation needs to germinate, and it's not by standing over the top of the plant and waiting for it to come through the dirt is going to make it grow any faster. It's like nature has a cycle. You plant, you water, the sun, the rain comes, and then the seed germinates. I think the process of planting seeds mentally and emotionally is the same.
Yeah, I think that's very comprehensive, the way you explained it. And that gives a lot of clarity. Because I mean, I tell when I get this question, I mean, I tell them that if a thought like that comes to you, or if you start missing your person, or whenever you think of your person throughout your day, for that moment, you just go live in the end, that person is yours.
Yeah.
And then you just switch back to your normal day. You don't have to worry about it is mine.
Yeah.
And then you go on, live your best life, landing yourself in that, knowing that he is yours and he is going to come. And I don't have to really think about it right now. And I mean, like you said, that I trust this process. I think saying that, affirming that will really help. And now also things run their natural course.
Yeah.
So I think trust, faith in the process is key here.
Yeah. And I do think when people are prone to a lot of anxiety, it's I don't trust myself and I don't trust life. I don't trust the process. So it's like you think, oh my God, what if it doesn't happen? Or what if I'm wasting my time? Or what if this takes too long? Or what if I'm just living in a delusion of the law of attraction being real and it's not real? Like I get a lot of those questions and a lot of those comments, and I understand that. I had that same thing 30 years ago. I totally understand that, because you don't understand the mechanics of life. You don't understand the mechanics of the mind. You don't understand the mechanics of focusing on directing the mind and on witnessing the creations that come from being able to do that. It takes practice, and you get better and you get more confidence and you get more trust through practicing a little bit and then seeing a result. You go, ooh, that worked. Oh, nice. I'm going to try it for this topic now. So the confidence builds over time. Confidence builds over the experience of results.
I think now, I mean, I've gotten so much clarity on the art of manifestation. Now, if I look back, it's the more relaxed you are and the more cool you are about it, I think the quicker your manifestation will come. Now,
so agree. I so agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, because what I gather from people is that they're constantly obsessing the kind of questions I get. When exactly did I know that which day exactly I knew I felt detached? So questions like those. And how many meditations were around specific person, how many meditations per day were around myself. So, and how many affirmations I did. So, these kinds of questions, mostly 90% of the time, they're about that specific person and they're less about you. So I think you need to reverse this and make it more about you and about the other person. Because whenever we have a breakup, I think the next morning we just start obsessing how to get them back, how to get them back, how to get them back.
Yeah.
You never, no point you look at yourself and question, where do I need work? Or where I went wrong, or maybe I need to first for myself. So this is what my advice to people is: make it about you, make it about yourself, and that's where I went wrong in my relationship for 3 years. Every time I had a split, I would just sit and start waiting for that person to reach out, or maybe chase that person, pursue that person, beg that person, feed that person. At no point in those 2.5 years, I analyzed or I tried to work on myself. It was me that was in this kind of situation, And when I did, I turned the situation around. So, and also when people ask me how to really fit all these, because people sometimes feel overwhelmed how to do so much work, whether they should do Ho'oponopono, whether they should do unconditional love, whether they should do whispering technique. So, I mean, I had a structure, and I think I've talked about it previously. It's like I had an alarm set for sunset, 7 p.m. This is my time for connecting with specific person. Morning, I have to do affirmations that are for me. And before bed, there's an alarm which says I have to do Ho'oponopono. So it's more like something I'm doing as part of routine and then not really thinking about it. Oh, I've done it. Where's the result? No, it's something I've done and I need to move on with my work. And then there's another alarm. I do it and then I move forward.
Yeah.
I think if you give it a structure and you will automatically get detached from this process.
I really love setting alarms to remind. I think that because it's so easy to forget, you get caught up doing something, use the phone to remind you. I think that's a wonderful thing. And it really, those little bits every day, they add up to a calmer mind, calmer emotions, being more relaxed, being more in a trusting state about life, about trusting you. It really does accumulate. It does.
Yeah. I also feel, I think you can also make it fun, this whole idea of manifesting, by being creative. And you can try different things every day. Maybe one day you can script, the other day you can do a different meditation, and just start enjoying the process and stop obsessing when this meditation will create or relate into, reality, or counting number of days, counting number of affirmations. It doesn't work like that. I mean, I know where that is coming from. I was in the same state for the longest. But now if I look back and I apply this law of attraction or manifestation to small things, and they work for me. So that is how I'm getting this clarity. The more relaxed you are about something, it will just automatically, easily come to you.
Absolutely. And it sounds so simple, but for people that have got anxiety and they're stressed and they're all wound up and they're in lack of trust and lack of trusting themselves, getting to a place of being relaxed is not the easiest thing. It's definitely possible with practice, but when you're so used to,
the hardest. Maybe you need one manifestation to come.
to relax. How do you get there? Yeah.
It's very, it's interesting when I think about it, that whenever we try or experience this manifestation thing, we always do it with the hardest thing first. I mean, it's always about relationships when we learn about this art, and manifesting relationship is typically the hardest thing, because there's vulnerability, there's love. If we first get a chance to master this art through small things, small things, then I think we'll be in a better position. But unfortunately, we learn about this when we are already vulnerable. And manifesting somebody or relationship is, I would say, the hardest if you compare manifestations.
Yes, I agree with you. I think jobs, money, houses, even losing weight or correcting a health condition, I think by far relationships are the hardest for most people. I find that's the subject that I see the most in my emails. That's the subject. So,
I'm sure you can see from your meditations would say how to attract a text message or a call. They will have the maximum number of likes and views.
That's for sure.
That also shows that we're not willing to do self-work, and we just want somebody's message.
Yeah. I think the day that self-love videos get the most likes and the most views, there will be a huge collective consciousness shift in the world. Yeah.
And very interesting. I mean, learning from my experience, I used to, watch so many videos on relationships, coaches, but at no point in most of those, my focus, I think the reason why I failed in those 2.5 years of exploration and research was, all of those people were telling me how to manage a narcissist, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had a paper, a notebook, where I actually noted down phrases, that these are the phrases you were supposed to say to the narcissist, because you're not supposed to react. You're supposed to respond and be very cool. So my focus throughout was on how to manage the other person and not really change, change myself. And nobody talks about self-love. I think it should not just be in law of attraction. This is something all relationship coaches should stress, focus, because unless you are happy and secure within yourself, unless you feel that you are your source of love, you will keep failing. Your relationships will keep falling apart.
Yeah.
This is the first step that you need to get sorted. But unfortunately, nobody really talks about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's almost like it's a sickness in the spirit, not having good self-love. It's the spirit is not fully self-sufficient. Like you're just not able to sustain your own anything. So you're looking for, I mean, this is why I think the people go to drugs, they go to cigarettes, they go to alcohol, they go to sex, they go to food, they go to, you know, money. It's all this external stuff because their self-love is not enough in you at that point. So you're looking for that to make you feel better on the inside, whatever that is. And I think love from others is probably the biggest addiction of all.
I mean, I had that problem, by the way.
Yeah.
I call it instant gratification. Every time I had a split or an argument, I would go and look for a way for instant gratification. Maybe I would spend loads of money. I would buy something to make myself happy. I would go on a vacation. But in all those times, I never really looked at myself and sat down and focused. I need to do the work. And it comes from me and not from some external trip or some external purchase.
But it's almost like you don't even know. It's like one day you just wake up and go, oh my goodness, I have been shopping, having sex, eating, smoking, drinking, taking all this stuff. And I never actually realized I was doing that because I wasn't feeling comfortable inside. I was suffering and I wanted relief from that suffering, whether it was mental suffering, emotional suffering. I was not comfortable and I wanted to get rid of that uncomfortability. And getting love from another person through neediness is one of the ways I did it. But when that light bulb comes on, oh my God, you go, I've been doing this my whole life, trying to get something from the outside to make me feel better on the inside. Once you have that awakening, it's like the whole thing changes. It's like, and you never know when that's going to be, but you remember the moment it was for you. You never forget, because it's like you can't not know that again. You can't not know. You may choose to go back to drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever, but you can never forget it.
And I think it takes a lot of work to get there, and it's not like overnight, and it's a daily basis work. I need to do it. I still need to do it because it's very easy to slip back into the old state. It's very easy to get carried away through all these external attractions, but it takes work landing yourself in that state of wholeness and sustaining that state. It takes daily.
Yeah. And it's true, Hamza, you can slip back, like you're only as good as today. You know, what work did you do today? Because if it's like when you don't go to the gym for a month, you get all, you know, your muscles go all like that. This mental fitness can go all like that too. You can lose your mental fitness by not maintaining your self-love, your good mental diet, your, you know, doing your Ho'oponopono, relaxing, letting go, surrender, allowing. When you start to forget those things, all of a sudden you get back to someone isn't giving me enough of something. And you go back to them. You go back to them. They didn't. And then it all falls down again.
Exactly. I mean, this is something which happened to me 2 months ago. I kind of developed an attraction, or I mean, you know, I started to try to manifest somebody because I liked that person. And very soon I found myself in the state where I'm actually waiting for them to see my message. And then looking at them and waiting, they haven't replied. But the difference was that I was able to stop it right away. And I mean, that was the day I know that I have grown, because I'm not going to repeat it. This is not on, and I need more work.
Yeah.
And then I went back to working on myself, and now I'm in a position that it doesn't really matter whether they're texting or not. And I'm just cool about it.
Yeah.
So I think that state we all should strive for. And it is not easy. It is super hard because I think love is something which makes you vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, successful, then all these fears and insecurities, they automatically start kicking in. So it's a war that you really have to, fight.
It is. It is. And it's a humbling experience when you think, oh, I'm really good at this now. My self-love's great. And I'm doing my affirmations. And then you meet somebody and you go, ooh, I like them. And then all of a sudden you see, like you said, your fears come back. Your I'm not good enough comes back. Because when you're single and you're alone for a while, you get a false sense of security.
Yeah. And then I think the experience of love remains the same, whether it's your first relationship or your fifth relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of vulnerability is just the same.
Yeah.
But I think the way you manage it, that changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like from my side. I mean, this is what I had.
Oh, lovely. It is such an it's an unquenchable thirst, this topic, because there's so many different facets to it. And there's so many it's like you drop through different levels over time of understanding, of learning. And then the biggest level, I think, is applying the information. Application is a huge, huge, huge multi-layered. I mean, I used to think I was applying stuff. I used to think I understood Neville. I used to think I knew what self-love was. And I can tell you, when I look back at the person then, like 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, it's like the levels of understanding just get deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's you really realize just how much you don't know. You really realize.
It's a lifelong process.
It really is.
Learning. And we should be open to learning and apply, right? And also persist. I think maintaining that state is really, really important, because we don't want to be in that vulnerable spot ever again.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think eternal students of this topic, eternal students, I really see. And I find too, because I find everyone I work with, they are me pushed out. The questions, I'm thinking, okay, what do I still need to work on that I keep hearing these questions from people? What is in me? How can I improve my self-love? How can I improve me being more surrendered and letting go and allowing? How can I improve more my taking care of myself, my self-care a little bit better, because I might slide and, you don't eat properly for a couple of days and you start feeling tired. When you start feeling tired, then you start getting grumpy. When you start getting grumpy, you start getting negative. When you start getting negative, you start looking at what everybody else is doing. As soon as you do that, then it's people aren't doing enough for me, or they're not giving me. So the spiral can happen very easily. And so for me, with the work that I do with people, it's like it's constantly reminding me of the work I need to do on me, that I am, the student that's been around for a little bit longer, but I am still a student that is learning myself to refine, to fine tune, to remember I'm only as good as today, and to remember that all this work is daily. It's daily. It's daily. Yes, have a couple of days off to give your mind a rest and watch Netflix, maybe do something that you really enjoy, go out and have fun, like you going away and doing what you wanted to do for your self-love and to connect with this wonderful person. But, it's remembering that if you don't maintain it, you will slide back. You slide back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hamza, thank you. That was lovely. That was, nearly an hour. So I won't go any further, because we could talk about it for hours, but just to keep it so it's not too long for people to watch.
I think we had a productive exchange.
Yeah,
and
I do too.
It clears out many of the questions that I had, and hopefully for people who had these questions from me. So I
love when people bring just those questions forward, because there's a lot of conflicting information about law of attraction. There's a lot of conflicting information about how people interpret Neville, how people interpret Abraham Hicks, how people interpret self-love. So, you know, we are just today giving our interpretation and our version. Our way is not the only way. It is our way, yours and mine, and we've decided to share it with the viewers. So I hope that hopefully they got something out of that. Hamza, if people want to contact you, I will add those details of yours down below that I've added in your previous interview. I will also add the interview that you and I did before, and your success story for people that haven't seen it. And do you want to say any last words?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really glad we did this, and I'm very privileged and honored and grateful to be in this position where I am today. And I really hope that I can help people. And I can't wait to hear success stories of people who are talking to me, because that will be the day I feel confident about this whole thing.
Yeah, I have to say,
everybody is very, very best.
Thank you, Hamza. And I do hear what you're saying when people come back and you've helped them and that they share a success story. Wow, that is a beautiful moment of satisfaction. It really is. Yeah. It really is. So thank you. You know what's funny, Hamza? Your car that's in your thumbnail in the photo matches the painting on my wall.
Yeah, and it's from London, by the way. That's
is it?
Yeah, I took that picture.
Oh, there you go. It's a little is it a Cooper? Mini Cooper?
Yes, it's
yeah.
Cooper.
Yeah.
And you can tell from the buildings, it's Notting Hill, all those colored apartments.
Yes. There's a lot of those cars here. There's lovely little Mini Coopers. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining Hamza and I. I will see you as always in another YouTube, and I will see you, Hamza. We'll say bye in private. Bye, everyone. And I will just